So when I'm not 3D printing, I like to play Fortnite. Well, I try to play Fortnite. But when it came time for me to find a case for my new Pro controller, I couldn't find one that matched it on any of the websites that were out there. So was this the time? The time for me to learn Blender and make my own case? What? No, no, no. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I did make this controller case, but not with Blender. Instead, I used ChatGPT. I mean, come on. The machines are going to take over us anyway at some point. Might as well just give in, right? It's whatever. So again, nothing against Blender or those other programs out there. I just haven't had the time to learn any of them. But what I have been doing these last few months is integrating ChatGPT into my daily life, my work, my YouTube channel to help me with tons of other things. So rewinding back to when I had my Pro controller and I couldn't find anything to match it, I did find some things, some cases that I liked that would have fit well with the controller, but again, the dimensions were off. So again, what I'm going to show you in this video is just step by step what I did to take an existing STL file, throw it into ChatGPT, and have it spit out the dimensions that I needed to modify so my controller would fit perfectly.
So before we start tossing files into ChatGPT and expecting it to work, here are some tips to consider, especially if this is your first time working with ChatGPT, or if you've tried before and results weren't that great. So don't be nervous. But first thing you'll want to do is introduce yourself to ChatGPT. I don't mean like, hi, I'm Eric, I'm a Gemini, and I like long walks by the filament shelf. What I mean is to just give it the important stuff, like what 3D printer you'll be using, or what slicing software you'll be working on, the type of filament, and maybe even your comfort level. This is just the basics, so I recommend watching other tutorials on setting ChatGPT up for success. Since this isn't that type of video, and because I've already done all of this, let's jump ahead to the next tip.
So next thing you want to make sure you do is you want to be specific. Make sure you're very specific with the situation or with the file or the problem that you're having.
If you just say, hey, ChatGPT, help me with this STL, you're probably going to get some generic advice that doesn't really solve anything. But if you say something like, here's a phone stand STL for an iPhone 12 that I need to fit an iPhone 16. Now that's a helpful starting point. You can see an example of this when I told ChatGPT that I wanted to 3D print a controller case, but only providing an Amazon link to my controller and no other questions or instructions. In return, I got steps on how to design a controller case from scratch. Oh, ChatGPT, you silly goose. Since I'm so not ready for that journey and only wanted to modify an existing STL, after providing a web link from a case I found online and asking how to modify it based on my controller specifications, I started getting the instructions I was looking for.
So the next thing is when it comes to scaling.
If you need help with sizing your print, but you're like me and math is your worst enemy, try grabbing the product page on Amazon or the manufacturer's website. Most of them already list the dimensions you need, like the height, width, and thickness. As you can see from my example, I just took the Amazon link for the controller I purchased and the link from the Maker World website for the controller case I wanted to modify. Dropped them into ChatGPT, and it did all the math for me. Now, if the instructions from ChatGPT are still a little confusing, which they can be, you can simplify it even more like I did here. I decided to take a screenshot of the case in my slicing software that showed the X, Y, and Z dimensions and asked what specifically I would need to change for the case to fit my controller. To be even more specific, I asked it to give me the exact percentage scale values. And of course, always make sure you say please and thank you. I mean, you never know when it'll take over the world, but it'll remember that you were always polite. So after giving me the exact percentage scale values to put in my slicer, even going beyond to remind me to turn off uniform scale, I scaled up the case based on the instructions given and hit print.
All right, so there you have it. That's how I use ChatGPT to help me create this controller case for this controller. And as you can see, lovely fit. Lovely fit. What? Oh, so pretty. So I did make sure, I did make sure to have ChatGPT leave some room just for some paddings. As you can see, these little black things here. These are just little door, what are they called? These are just kind of door seals or window seals that I found at like a Home Depot or Lowe's. These are thicker ones, but these are the ones, these are just nice paddings to kind of make sure it doesn't just tossle around. Could I have asked ChatGPT to lower the dimensions so that way it had a perfect snug fit without the padding? I could have, but I wanted the paddings myself. So that's why it gave a little bit room at the top and on the sides. That way it would fit and have the pads as that reinforcement, just in case. So next time you have a project that you're having trouble with, whether it's the dimensions or trying to find something to match your specific need, give ChatGPT a try. You never know, it might work out. If you've used ChatGPT before in your projects, please drop a comment. Let me know how it went for you, or give more tidbits or more tips and tricks. I would love to hear those from you as well. And I'm sure everybody else would too. And with that, I'm Eric Sauer with Sweet and Sour 3D. I'll catch you in the next one. I'll catch you in the next one.